much for talking to us. Now here, more than 500,000 elderly and disabled adults in England are waiting for social care, according to the body which runs local authority care. It's up by almost 2/3 on last year. Ministers say they're investing billions in the care system, but the Association of Directors of Adult Social Services say there's a growing shortage of care workers, made worse by low pay rates and the cost of living crisis. Well, let's talk now to Dan Archer, Chief Executive of Visiting Angels UK, which is a home care provider. Dan Archer, thank you very much for talking to us this evening. Let me ask you first of all, in terms of what the government says, billions going into social care, but not yet, presumably, because the money has to, the first priority they've decided, and they told us last year, will be the NHS and dealing with the backlog. And we know from all the other statistics we've had that that backlog is proving to be persistent.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And Sean, thank you for inviting me on. I would absolutely agree with that. I mean, we listened to the coverage around what was declared as a reform of social care, the Health and Social Care Levy. The reality is the vast majority of the money that's been generated is going into the NHS. It's backfilling the NHS. Ironically, as a home care provider, my staff have got higher national insurance bills, and I personally have a higher national insurance bill as a business owner. So I'm paying more in, and yet we're not seeing as much coming through to the people that really need it in terms of the people commissioning care and paying for care. So that is absolutely leading to a crisis in terms of staffing.
Presumably the government is getting some extra money from some care workers, better paid care workers in terms of national insurance contributions, but that's going into this. It's the whole point of the raise, wasn't it, to do that? And they say they're correcting it to help those lower paid with the changes to the thresholds. But what about these additional cost pressures? Are they having an impact on your ability to recruit staff?
No, I mean, we are not like most care providers in that respect. We pay our staff very well.
Right.
We treat our staff very well. We don't have 0-hour contracts. We pay people far above minimum.
So you pay them travel time, do you?
Correct.
They don't just get paid for the hours, because I know from when my late mother had carers, that was a persistent issue for them and many care companies, that people were only getting paid for the hours they spent inside the property with the person they cared for.
I can give you practical examples. I've got data from across the country. The average pay rate for a home care worker on the data we have is £7.39 an hour. Now that's less than minimum wage. Now that's because they are doing unpaid work in driving between visits during the working day. So we don't do that. We pay our carers £10, £11, £12 an hour. We pay for the travel time on top of that. And because of that, we are not finding it as difficult to recruit. The sector at large is really struggling because of that.
Are you not then surprised by these figures from the Directors of Adult Social Care?
Not at all. Practically, we need to ask ourselves a very serious question here, which is if there are 120, 130, now 140,000 vacancies in the adult social care sector, that's not because there's a shortage of people. It's because the job that people are being asked to do isn't an attractive job. It's not a fulfilling job. It's a complex job, and it's definitely a job that should be paid far more than minimum wage. And my business, and we have 26 locations around the UK providing adult social care to hundreds of clients across the UK. If you pay your staff better, if you reward staff for loyalty, if you don't ask them to do too much work in too little time, it is possible to find people that are prepared to do that job. But the challenge in adult social care isn't the need. The need is exponential. We know all about the need. The challenge here is that the job that many carers are being asked to do is an impossible job. And you've got to ask yourself the question, would you be prepared to work for £7.39 an hour? And probably the answer is no.
Dan Archer, Chief Executive of Visiting Angels UK Home Care Organisation. Thank you so much for your input. I hope we'll talk about this. I think this subject is certainly not one that's going away. Thank you.
Thank you.
The podcast host, Deborah James, has raised more than £4.5 million